Start the morning right with a cup of Vinyl Tap. Nothing beats the refreshing taste of a hot, warm mug of Vinyl Tap. Enjoy your podcast in liquid form today. Vinyl Tap. Enjoy responsibly. Vinyl Tap.
Welcome to a new theme of Vinyl Tap. I'm Jason.
He's Jason.
And this is Jason.
Okay. This time round, a few minutes ago, a little while ago now, we listened to, if I can just do the dramatic reveal very undramatically, Huzzah!
Oh. It's in the title of the video.
Oh, fuck. Well, we listened to Mandolin Serenade by Mandolin Serenaders.
Did they serenade us?
Oh,
Is that an eponymous album
boy.
then? Like,
I don't know.
you'd think it is.
First thing I want to ask you two is, what year do you think this was made, or when do you think this was made, and where? When and where?
When and where?
Please go first.
Okay. It's either made in the US or Italy. I don't know why. I've just got my bets are in Italy, and it was probably made in the 80s because I feel like that's a time of cultural butchering. That's that's where this is going to be placed.
Okay,
I'd be more inclined to say the 70s or the 90s, just anything that Habibi doesn't think. And and I'm going to say North Korea, because where else could produce such an abomination?
I feel like Tim's closer on both counts.
Oh wow! Okay.
Is it like Japan?
Japan in the 70s.
Of course it was. Jesus.
Well, memes win again.
So, we'll have a link to music somewhere, but essentially, my take on this is that they've taken a classical album, gone, we don't want this violin here, we're going to put a mandolin here instead of the violin.
That's interesting considering how much violin is in the album.
Yeah.
Yes, but I didn't say that there wasn't. Like, it's still classical music, but they've gone, let's put a mandolin instead of one of the violins.
Within the first 20 seconds, I had written what I'd anticipated to listen for the rest of the album, and it was to have all of my favourite serenades butchered. And
Good thing you didn't know any of the serenades.
I
don't know.
I don't know. I couldn't.
So they're all called Serenade. Pretty much every song is called Serenade.
12 tracks.
So let's just do the guessing game now. Straight. First track I gave away when I read it out to you guys was Serenade by Schubert.
Right.
We'll come back and talk about the music. Let's just do all the titles. Second one, who do you think it was? Any guesses?
I imagined that it was an Italian composer, but I have no idea.
I don't know if the
I wrote
person's...
down Bizet at first before I decided it was Italian. I said that, is this the Italian that Schubert was taking the piss out of in the first track? Because the first track I really felt like it was Schubert taking the piss out of Italy.
Wow. I don't know who this person is. You guys would probably have more of an idea than me, but Toselli? No, not a clue. Wonderful. Track 3, Serenade by...
I definitely thought it was French. Did you have any names?
I literally didn't guess for the rest of it.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think I wrote down any more names. I just said French. Is it
Serenade, Drigo. Serenade number 4 is Serenade Gounoud. I am sorry for my pronunciations.
I'm not. I'm loving it.
Number 5 is Serenade by Tosti.
That's the Italian, surely.
The 6th one we're pretty sure is a German because it's Standchen,
Which is
German for Serenade, by Heykens. Then we have
That's
Mandolin Serenade on side 2, Serenade from the Student Prince. If you know what the Student Prince is.
Is that like
Let
when
us
Prince
know.
went to the conservatory?
It must have been, yeah. It was the 70s.
Number 3,
So.
Serenade by Haydn.
Oh, shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 3.
No, we'll get to that. Number 4 on side 2 is Guitar Serenade,
on side 2,
which is
so that's
hilarious.
right.
And number 5 was Spanish Serenade, and 6 was Frasquita Serenade. Cool. Where would you guys like to start musically?
Oh, the
Do
beginning,
we
please.
just start with the obvious and just whip it out straight away? So, I brought my friendly mandolin.
Here's one he prepared earlier.
It took 4 tracks until we heard a different way a note was played by the mandolin, and then we never heard it again. So it was the entire time a mandolin played a note, it was just...
Beautiful.
This is where you have
Thank you,
flashbacks
Jason.
into the Vietnam War
Yeah.
in the
The
background.
trees speaking to you.
Okay, I do want to talk a little bit about it because obviously the connection, and for those of you who don't know at home, mandolin and violin have the same strings. So there is a bit
Tuning.
of tuning. So there is a bit of a connection there. The way that they did
Sustain notes.
the way that they did their sustain notes. So there's a thing called legato for violin, which is everything is like a nice even sound. The way that the mandolin approached this, or the mandolin players approached this, was they would just pick an intensity and then just fucking gun it. There's a
Is that technically tremolo?
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I had it as a trill. I don't really know that that
Trill's
is-
2 notes, Jason.
Yeah, okay. My mistake.
It
I wasn't
really-
sure how to coin it, but it was
It butchered
irritating.
every
Oh,
melody
yeah.
that came.
It was
out.
really hard to focus on melody for me.
Yeah.
By the time the song for Serenade came around, my note here in all capitals is we got our first use of a single picking of a note. And
Yeah.
it's like, it was like the most welcome change. And then they never
again.
did it again at all. It
Really?
was just
I thought it came up like here and there. You know, like occasionally they pick
maybe,
single
but
notes.
it wasn't like obvious enough for me to go, wow, what a relief from this tremolo nightmare.
They did do some nice things. So whenever they would play like Mikado bits, they would, strum the first one, the really strong attack, and then the rest
Right.
were like really nice and weak. A little bit of variance in the.
Dynamics. Yes, it wasn't about the dynamics, so it was just the attack was.
Dynamics were pretty lacking across the board.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't know if that's on the
Ooh.
musical end or the production end, because it seems to me that mixing did not occur.
I mean, it was the 70s.
It was the 70s. We forgive you, the 70s, but we have to live with the results. And that was it. There's no mixing. It's just sound in your face the whole time.
Which the worst example of that is towards the end of track 2. Is it? I think it's the 5th song towards the end, or maybe the 4th song on the second side, and you just get this wall of sound that's just a mess. That's just
Yeah.
indistinguishable.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of strings, a lot of different stuff going on, and listening to the album top to bottom, by that point I was just like, my note is literally, lol, I don't know, it's just the fucking same at this point. I'm sick of a tremolo
It's
mandolin.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
samey.
So something that tremolo did, because it was just all semiquavers. What is that? 16th notes.
I suppose.
For your American viewers at home. The Serenade does not lend itself to playing fucking semiquavers. Holy shit! And it was so that first, the A side is super noticeable that the composition had to carry the lilt and
Yeah.
the romance and all that sort of stuff. So track 3, the composition Serenade. Because everything was fucking subdivided, and the background, whatever you call it, the accompanying instruments were sort of playing like 1, 2, 3, 4. It gave it a Greek Oompa feel. And it was horrendous. It was possibly the worst thing they could have done. But track 4 worked a little bit better as a composition. For
Which side are we talking?
Still
A.
side one.
Still
Side
side,
A.
yeah. Because they were just playing on 1, so it
Yeah.
didn't feel so trudgy.
It felt more like a dance.
Yeah.
I have a note in here somewhere, which is more what I was expecting from Mandolin Serenade, was a group of mandolins to be playing songs together. And I feel like if you'd gotten rid of some of the long bowing strings and had mandolins together, you would have got a better blend.
I definitely would have agreed with the album's existence more if that was the case. Like, it would have more of a reason to exist.
Yeah, which
But
is
as
more
it
what I
is-
was expecting given the cover and
Can I
going
posit
into it.
though, now that you know what mandolin serenades sound like, would you really want more mandolins?
Not in this context, at least.
Yeah.
I'd be happily proven wrong by someone, but I can't say I'm going to go actively seeking mandolin serenades at this point.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know what side this is. Song 6. Is that song
That'll be
2?
side 1.
Side 1?
Yeah, that's the Standchen, right? The German one.
Yeah. This is so aggressively happy, I want to cry.
It has a
It's
glockenspiel. Oh my
It's
god.
like the film music to a B grade 1950s American film set in France.
I had a
It
note
definitely
that
is.
was literally like where I feel like we're in a movie where it's an American director wanting to sound foreign but not knowing how to sound
How to
foreign.
sound foreign. A fun note from that song though is that glockenspiels and mandolins in the high register go really nicely together.
So that's a positive.
that's a
yeah.
plus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tim?
Oh,
You haven't let loose yet.
No, I haven't. You have not allowed me, and that's probably a good thing. As I said during the listening, I no longer have perfect pitch. It's
Oh,
gone.
you beat me to the quotes.
I
I have quotes from Serenade 3 on side 2. We collectively contracted cabin fever and all lost our minds. Quote from Habibi. It was like he heard a violin and goes, "Oh, I'm in Hawaii. It's just the holiday I needed." And then Tim goes, "I think I no longer have perfect pitch. What is going on?" But that being said, it is also, in my opinion, the best song
track on the album.
On the album, absolutely.
It's probably because of the movement. Like, it doesn't feel like the accompaniment has to carry the mandolin that way Habibi described before, because it has that kind of like a samba rhythm.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got a rhythm shift in it as well.
Yeah,
It
it's
wasn't
more
just the
exciting.
same
Yeah.
rolling kind of tempo and rhythm the whole time.
Mandolin works as an exciting instrument as opposed to
Yeah.
that.
The takeaway is that you shouldn't use mandolin to woo with romances.
No,
It shouldn't hold long notes that are meant to be sweet and beautiful.
it's
I
not
like
the
that.
courtship instrument. It's the getting down to business instrument. So don't listen to this album if you want to like impress a romantic suitor. You've already accomplished that by the time you're listening to this album. No, don't. Bad idea.
I wasn't going to continue on that. I was going to say what the most ironic thing for me about this album is the guitar serenade that heavily features piano, mandolin, and violin, and a snare drum.
Not a single
But
sound.
there's like very negligible
there is-
guitar in it.
I don't think there is.
I think there was a little bit.
No.
But I thought there was
I
like
didn't hear a guitar.
I thought there was a little bit, but not enough to call it a guitar serenade. Unless it's a guitar serenade they've adapted for mandolin, but like, what a confusing title then.
Yeah, it's great.
What are you?
I love it.
What are your thoughts on the organ that kept on?
Oh my
disappearing?
god! So I felt like they just used the instruments they had lying around in their warehouse. There was no plan. It was like, what the fuck do we have?
Oh, we've got a mandolin, we need to make use of that.
Oh
So
my
you
god!
guys are talking about that textural wall of sound. It wasn't until I don't know we were deep into the album that finally they peeled back the layers to reveal there's this fucking Hammond organ just going like the whole way through, that artificial fucking terrible vibrato. Ooh.
Oh, it was terrible. Oh my god! And I wrote down that clearly what happened in production was someone said, "You know what this needs? A Hammond organ and a theremin," because I thought I heard a theremin. It's probably not a theremin.
I'd be pretty excited if there was a theremin, but insane that it didn't stand out.
Do you think the violinists that played were also the mandolinists who played and they just swapped between songs?
I don't know what to think about this. It's making me question a lot of things musically.
It's tough. It's a hard listen. I like maybe listening to one of them is fine. Is like a nice experience. You know, one of the ones on the second side. The second side's way better than the first side.
Yeah,
firstly.
my note I was just about to say.
I actually wrote down, can you sand the first side of a record off?
Oh, wow.
Is that possible? Can we do that?
That's funnier than my line. I was going
I'm
to say
glad.
side 2 would kick side 1's ass any day of the week.
Yeah,
So,
you're
yeah.
right. That is funnier.
And just oh my god. Okay, so here's a tip for violinists who want to try sliding and to do something jazzy, because it feels like the violinist who played had a basic grasp of classical music, they were told that to make it sound jazzy, all you have to do is slide a lot. And then they were told that side 2 is jazz. So that's all they did. And every time they had a shift, a position shift or whatever, they just fucking gunned it. Every one of them.
Maybe that's what I thought the theremin was.
Yeah, it was awful. Like, that was the corniest, cheesiest violin playing I had ever fucking heard.
Corniest.
And it wasn't like the actual violin.
Yeah, the violin itself, that playing was...
Can we talk about the key change in
Oh,
Mandolin?
no. I don't know if I don't know if the words exist.
Mandolin Serenade, the first track of side 2.
My goodness.
It was so like, and here's the key change that everyone does.
It was a Disney key change. They just served it up. Oh.
Like, I quite enjoyed the album. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's... If you're gonna listen to it with mates.
Yeah, you don't want to sit there by yourself.
No, that I would feel that'd induce much anxiety.
What kind of drinking game did you pull out of this?
Every time you hear a mandolin treble.
Just hook it to my veins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does anyone else have anything else they want to say or ask about this before we wrap this one up?
Oh.
I ripped into everything and everyone.
Yeah, I wrote during the 8th track, Serenade, I wrote, do you think the River Styx has gondolas? Because that's what it felt like.
Yeah, actually, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I feel pretty proud of myself for that one. I just wrote for number 9 that it's a jam, because it was. That's the best track on the album, I think.
Oh, third side 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
But then by the time we got to the last track, I'd come back around and I wrote
again.
Music was a mistake. That's all
I
Just
wrote
playing the sound of
literally
Christmas.
nothing for the last one because I was like, I have no more words for this.
Yeah. Well.
Can we talk about the triangle?
No.
I didn't notice that.
Really?
No.
In the first track of the second side?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. I no longer appreciate triangles as a geometric expression.
The hi-hat and triangle is so sexy. There was no hi-hat. It was just triangle.
It's disgusting.
And snare.
Ugh. Ugh.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, if you want to get yourself a copy of this album, you just
It is
need
actually
to...
available online.
Is
Oh,
it?
is it?
Yeah.
I was just going to say trawl through the local op shop